Hi parents, so this is our weekly video update to see which resources we've added. So right now I am on the OT at L's main and satellite locations, right on that very front page where I post my short videos about the new updates. I also want to um, point out that I do have a very brief parent survey, and it would help me target some topics towards your specific needs and questions. So if you just click on the link, you will see that this is a very, very short survey. I will need your name, so if I need to contact you and give you more information or ask you more questions so I can better serve you, then I can get hold of you. But you can keep it anonymous. You don't have to fill it if you don't want that. And then which area is most concerning to you? And let's say you pick fine motor, and then now is there a specific issue in the fine motor area that you want to address? For example, pencil grasp. And then what is a secondary goal? I want to, for example, you can pick any other topic that you would like. Teach my child how to do their zipper, something like that. And then you click submit. I am checking those responses to see how I can meet your needs during that time. So now I'll go back to the web page. I'll start. So if you go to the left side again, educational videos. So we have some resources for you here. So if I scroll down to the fine motor skills section, if you follow the date, I have a video on an activity using a spray bottle. I also added the modifications you could do either to make it easier or make it more challenging, and enriching the activity to include multiple areas of development, not just fine motor skills. This activity is really simple to do, so it is worth of your time to kind of check it out and see if that's something you could do at home with your child. Next, I'll go to the competent eater skills section. I just started another series of videos on that area, and I'm talking in that first session about understanding the kind of challenges that a picky eater has or could have, and kind of getting helping us to be in their shoes to understand why is it so overwhelming for them when it comes to mealtime. The video is unlisted in YouTube, which means that you have to use the link through the website to be able to view it. If you try and access it directly from YouTube, you probably can't see it. Next, I'll go to the sensory integration. So if you know that your child has issues with their sensory processing when it comes to the area of touch, so they're the kind of child that does not like to be touched and gets very irritated easily when it comes to certain textures and so on, these videos are for you. We've already started our first bin, and if your child is ready to move on, you can go to the second bin for this week, which are sponges. For our emotional regulation series, so I know this is a little bit packed, but if you go under the first heading, if you just follow the dates, so last week I started again some videos on challenging behaviors. So I added this week video, which is introduction to discipline, skill making, not manipulating. So you can check that out if that's an area that is concerning you. Next, I'll go to slides and handouts. Okay. So for the coronavirus, which is the section where I add anything related to the changes resulting from the current situation we're in, I added a very easy read article by Maureen Binney, and it is about helping a child who has the diagnosis of autism cope with the change. And she lists very brief 10 ways, um, things that we already talked about previously, but it summarizes it nicely so you don't have to go back and check everything that is already on the website. The next resource I have is in the life skills and daily routine section, and I started there's a section here about toileting. It tends to be one of those hot topics, but I chose a very specific, I guess, challenge. It's fecal smearing and autism. So sometimes you see that happening, and I actually got an inquiry about it. So I wanted to add that resource in case someone else is facing this issue at home. If you go under the fine motor skills, I do have the handouts section updated for this week's activity. So if you can't access the video, then you have the handout, and it has pretty much summarizes all the information I talk about in the video. Now, in the competent eater skills, I do have the handout for the video that I started today, or for this week, I mean. And then I also have updated our index, recipe index. So I'll click on it just to show you. So you can see I added the numbers, and I added a couple recipes in, or a recipe in each of those meals. I also added what to offer. So if I go down page 6, you could see it here. Very small, very little tips, but they are very effective in terms of when dealing with a child with picky eating behavior, talking about the benefits of needing to offer the child a variety of food from your family meal. You're not catering, you're serving a variety selection of high and low fat foods, and then giving your child some control within the options that you have available at home by letting him pick and choose whatever from whatever is being served. And then providing one familiar food item at the table, but we're not necessarily catering a special menu for that picky eater. So I'll go back to the website. Another online resource is a monthly blog by SOS. And SOS is a highly specialized program specifically geared toward kids with sensory issues when it comes to eating. They too offer some recipes there too. I have the link included in the recipe index. But also sometimes they do have tips and resources. So if your child is a picky eater, and especially if they were enrolled in our picky eating group, this would be a good resource for you. And it's only once a month, so it's not too overwhelming. You don't have to read and read and read and read if you don't have time. Next, I go to sensory integration. So we're moving to up in our bins. So moving up one level of challenge, call it sponges. Remember, please, there are very clear-cut criteria as to when to progress your child, especially if we're dealing with a child with sensory aversions and very sensitive to textures and touch. You got to really follow those criteria. Otherwise, it ends up being a very negative experience and very overwhelming experience. It's going to be counterproductive for you. So if you're not sure as to how to progress or when to progress, etc., please let me know by email. And finally, in this page, I've added the handouts for the presentation in the emotion regulation series. Last, I've updated the contact form, so you can directly reach me, and you just say your name, email, phone number, and then the best way to contact you. So don't use it to describe your problem. Don't use it to give me any health related information or updates about your child. It's just strictly to say, SOS, I need your help. And then that way you could, if for whatever reason, email is not the best way, you can directly access from the website, and I'll check and make sure that I'm checking both my emails and the contact forms to see who needs what kind of help, and then I'll be reaching out for you. So this summarizes all the updates for this week. I hope you find something there that is helpful to you, that will help you through this very strange time we're in. I hope you are enjoying the weather, taking some time to go outside, and taking some time to rest and foster some of those good quality relationships despite the circumstances we're in. Thank you.